Hey, how's it going, everybody? Robert Brown here. And a couple of days ago, Valve released a certain update. In this update, they put a lot of balancing they're gonna do to some of the weapons in Team Fortress 2. And by a lot, I mean a lot of balances. And now I'm gonna talk about just what I think about these balances and what's my overall opinion about them. So let's begin. So, here we are. Valve is going to do a lot of different things because they talked about in the blog post. They talked about in the past. They've made blog posts about changes. They've already shipped their stuff. We tossed them into something, and it was a lot of failed ideas. So here's some things to keep in mind. These are not a complete list of changes. Some items are still being worked on and are not ready for review. They're getting a little bit deeper in some of the classes like Scout and not as deep in others like Demoman. And keep in mind that this is a work in progress. And it doesn't mean that these changes won't be the exact changes, obviously. They might change some things around before the updates, and who knows. So we start off with the panic attack, which is getting changed. It's gonna have a 50% faster switch speed, 50% more pallets, and 30% less damage. It fires a wide fixed shot pattern regardless of server settings, and the shot pattern grows with successful shots. The panic attack is getting a bit of a buff, but I think that's pretty cool actually, because the panic attack was a bit of a useless weapon that nobody really used because it was hard to aim and you would need some serious power to use that thing, not to mention skill. And now we get the Spy, who has probably the worst nerfs we're gonna see. Spy? Well, here we go. We start off with the Ambassador. They're gonna make it where this thing cannot be effective in long range. Yeah, you heard that right. Here's the changes. Fire shots are no longer perfectly accurate, and bullet spread is instead reduced by 50%. This makes headshots less reliable at long ranges, while still very reliable at close and medium ranges. So basically, the Ambassador is useless at very far ranges, but still pretty good at medium to close ranges. So if you got a sniper with a Razorback, don't worry, you can still deal with it. And now we go on to the most amazing weapon yet, the Deadringer. Yeah, this thing is getting a bit of a nerf because guess what? Valve is trying to make it less interesting. Now, instead of making it less interesting, they're going to try to make it less predictable. So they're going to make it where ammo kits and dispensers no longer refill the Spy's cloak meter for the Deadringer. Yeah, you heard that right. They're basically nerfing the Deadringer. This might make a lot of Spy mains a bit upset. I'm so sorry, Soldier Fish, Mr. Paladin, but Spy is getting nerfed. But don't worry, guys. You cannot nerf the Spy, no matter how hard they try. You cannot kill a Deadringer. You know what's funny? Didn't Gabe Newell say that Spy was his favorite class? Why are they being so hard on him right now? I don't get it. And here comes the biggest change, the Year Eternal Reward. And let's just start off with the biggest thing yet. They're going to remove the cannot disguise penalty for the Year Eternal Reward, which is basically killing the whole point of the weapon. I mean, what are you doing, Valve? That just gets rid of the stealth thing with the Year Eternal Reward. If Valve watches this, I highly recommend you keep the cannot disguise penalty, and keep all the other things like the non-kill disguise is required and consume a full cloak meter. Backstab based disguises are still free and increase cloak trade rate by 50%. I suggest you keep all that stuff, but do not change the cannot disguise penalty because that just completely destroys the point of the year. And now we move on to my main, the Scout. He's not going to have too many changes, but some of his weapons are going to get changed, like the Sandman. So here we go. Long range balls impacts no longer remove the victim's ability to fire their weapon, but the victim is also slowed. So basically, they're getting completely rid of the moonshot ability, for the looks of it. Once again, Valve, I would prefer if you keep that, but like I said, this is your update. They've updated achievements that were looking for disarmed players. Max range balls now do 50% increased damage. The flight time required to trigger the max effect has been reduced by 20%, and the ball regeneration time has been reduced to 10 seconds. So that's pretty good actually. So I think the Sandman is getting more balanced. The Bonk Atomic Punch, well, this thing's getting a bit changed too. It applies a slow effect to the player after the phasing wears off based on the amount of damage they absorbed, from negative 25% at low damage to 65% at 200 plus damage, and it also lasts 5 seconds. And here we are at the Pretty Boy's Pocket Pistol. The Pretty Boy's Pocket Pistol has a lot of changes coming up. For example, it has a plus 15% firing speed, up to plus 7 health per hit, at a negative 25% clip size. So yeah, the Pretty Boys Pocket Pistol is getting stronger, which is good, but I still prefer the old Pretty Boys Pocket Pistol when it gives you 150 HP. And now the Criticola is getting a bit of a change too. So, here's what they're changing. They added each attack while active adds a Mark for Death debuff for 5 seconds, does not stack. They're going to remove the Mark for Death when the effect expires. They're going to remove the plus 25% move speed bonus and remove the plus 10 damage taken penalty. So all in all, the Criticola is getting a bit of a balance change and kind of buffed and kind of nerfed, but I'd say it's staying good. Here we go with the Atomizer. The Atomizer has a big change. You can only triple jump when you have the bat deployed. They're going to remove the self-inflicted damage when triple jumping, and they're also going to remove the attack speed penalty. Here's some stuff they're going to add. They're going to add melee attacks done while airborne or mini crits, 50% deployment time penalty to prevent quick switch bypass, and they're going to reduce damage penalty versus players to negative 15 from negative 20. So yeah, this weapon is getting a pretty big nerf. Yeah, because now you have to have the weapon out to do triple jumps. I know this might not be good news to people that love to use the Atomizer, but as a scout by myself, I don't really use that thing as much. And here's just one thing you need to know about the Flying Guillotine. They're removing the crit versus stun players and the mini crits at long range thing. Yeah, the Guillotine is getting nerfed. So, rip the Sandman plus Guillotine combo, I guess. Soldier. The base jumper is getting a nerf, from the looks of it. They're going to reduce the amount of air control while deployed by 50%. They're going to remove the ability to redeploy the parachute once it's retracted, until the player lands on the ground again. And for all you Mantread users out there, here's some good news. They're going to buff the Mantreads in the looks of it. They're going to add a plus 75 push force reduction, now includes air blast, and they're going to add plus 200 air control while blast jumping. So you Mantread users, you're welcome, I guess. And now, on the Sniper. And the Downrange Danger Shield, the most useless secondary ever. This thing, well, here we go. The new design is the counter range burning attacks, example flares are straightened melee fights versus Spyros. They're going to add afterburn immunity plus 55 resist. So basically the Downrange Danger Shield is only useful against Spyros. Against all the other classes, nope. And they're going to remove the increased survivability against enemy snipers. So yeah, don't use the Downrange Danger Shield. And the Razorback is going to get a negative 100 overheal penalty, and they're adding a shield. They're adding a regeneration to the shield. It will regenerate after 30 seconds after it's broken. And Medic. Medic has a couple of changes. The Vitasol, Supercharge on death is too valuable for an effect to be passive. So they're going to add these organ things to the Vitasol. So basically, each hit with the Vitasol harvests the victim's organs. And on death, you preserve 50% supercharge per organ harvested. The effect caps at 60%. So basically, the Vitasol is going to turn into the Organ Saw, because you're collecting organs. And the Crusader's Crossbow is getting a bit of a change too. The Ubercharge gain rate reduces in the same way that the Minigun's healing and therefore Ubercharge build rate is, based on the last time the target was in combat. They're going to reduce the third when 1.10 seconds outside of combat and scales up to normal over 10.15 seconds. And here we go with Heavy. All his miniguns are getting a change. The 1 minus second damage and accuracy penalty now applies to the first second of spun up time, whether or not the Heavy is firing. Previously, the first second damage penalty will only be removed after 1 second of firing. Accuracy and damage penalties now reset when the Heavy spins down, rather than when the Heavy stops firing. This means if you stay spun up beyond 1 second, the fire and burst damage and accuracy will remain at 100%. So basically, Valve is telling all the Heavies to always be ready for danger. Do not put your minigun back up, or you will get penalized. And the Glove of Raging Urgently. This thing is getting a, how should I say, a nerf. They're going to add a max health is drained while the item is active, negative 10 seconds, and regenerated while holstered. Health regenerate only the amount drained while active, minus any damage taken during that time. Each time the gloves are deployed, the drain rate is accelerated for a brief period of time. They're going to remove the mark for death effect while active and remove the 25% damage penalty. So basically, the guns of running urgently will slowly kill you when you have it active. So be careful when you use that thing. I mean, it already has, but they're gonna add more to it. And the eviction notice, you know, the brass knuckles for the heavy. And just like the brass beast, they're going to add a max health is drained while the item is active, and regenerate while it's holstered. And they're going to remove the 20% damage vulnerability. So it's the same thing as the gloves are running urgently. And they kill you, it slowly kills you while you have it out. And the Fist of Steel. The Fist of Steel, well, yeah, these things gonna get changed a bit too. They're going to add a plus 40 overkill reduction while active, and add a 40% healing rate penalty while active. So basically, the Fist of Steel making when you can't get healed as much from the looks of it. Yeah, poor heavy. Some of his weapons are getting nerfed. And then the engineer only has one thing, and that's the Rescue Ranger. And they're changing this thing, so people who use the Rescue Ranger, be prepared for this. Range repairs now consume metal, at 4-to-1 health to metal ratio. Example, repairing 60 damage costs 50 metal. So basically, repairing with the Rescue Ranger, it will cost you. So be careful when you grab your sentry from a distance. And well, that's all of the weapon changes, all of the upcoming changes are going to do to these weapons. What do you guys think? In my opinion, I think this is pretty good. And just like Rob the Awesome said, don't get all worked up over this and go crazy. Just keep in mind that this is an ongoing thing and this might not be exactly what's going to happen to these weapons. If anything, I say Valve should play around with the weapons and not just completely destroy them like the Dead Ringer and the freaking Ambassador. Nah. So yes, the jungle update and the power update is coming, and we are already getting heads up of weapon balances. This is good news. But I do have one question. Why is Pyro not in any of these balances? Makes you wonder. I think Valve is gonna surprise us when the power update comes out. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about these weapon changes in the comment section below. Leave all your opinions, and I shall respond to them. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you're all hyped for these upcoming updates, and I hope to God Valve doesn't screw them up. And I'll see all you amazing people in the next one. Goodbye, and enjoy the rest of your day.